Hello and welcome to the Nicole Ambrosia podcast. Today's podcast is Fear versus Devotion and the Alchemy of Awe. So, public service announcement, don't pretend to love me when you don't even like me. Okay, so this has happened throughout my life, and I'm sure many of you have had this experience where they're like, I love you, but then their actions, words, and everything else says they do not even like you. Okay, but this is the second time someone claiming to be Christian has tried to guilt or shame me for how I choose to live my life and how I choose to practice. And they use Jesus' name to police my spirituality and to project their fears, worries, and insecurities onto me. And it stops today. But although I am really grateful that this came up because I'm like, wow, I'm actually very secure in who I am. Yay. Okay, so I'm not claiming to know the whole truth of all the universes and all the worlds and all realities. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm speaking from my experience, my practice, and my process and my truth as a part of my destiny and claiming full sovereignty in this realm in every facet of my life, especially, part of it's spirituality, right? Like I need to be fully spiritually sovereign, which means no one gets to tell me what to do or how to believe. Okay, I practice. I'm a 1-3 generator. I experiment and I do that. So when someone tries to project their fears onto you, they're pulling you into a control mechanism, a distorted frequency that makes you easier to govern because your discomfort actually soothes them. So they're trying to pull you into their situation because your freedom makes them uncomfortable. Just breathe that in for a second. So when someone asked me, what's my relationship with fear after they're like, oh, we must fear God and that's whatever. They were being curious, and I think that they were trying to pull me into their belief system patterns. And I also felt like they were policing me so that they could feel spiritually superior, which, you know what, if someone has to do that, that's not cool, actually. But today I'm going to unpack, and this is what inspired the podcast, to unpack the difference between fear and devotion. Okay, I'm going to name projection disguised as care and show you how real devotion is trust and awe, not bondage, not fear. Okay, so here we go. So we'll just call this like the Dakini Temple sermon. One of them. And again, I'm Nicole Ambrosia. The message I got turned me off. Okay, the message I got that I received from this person turned me off because who is anyone to be the Jesus police? That just doesn't even make any sense to me. To correct me when I didn't ask for correction, I didn't ask for understanding. Had they approached me with curiosity, that would have been better. But more importantly, why should anyone project their worry and insecurity onto me in the name of care? And people do this often. Mothers do this. And this is the exactly the kind of energy I rebuke. I don't accept the subtle fear disguised as judgment, the prayer that imagines your downfall while pretending to love you. I'm just worried about you. I'm worried about what judgment day comes and you're not going to be saved. We need to clear that distortion. Don't imagine my downfall if you're trying to pray for me. If you're praying for me, imagine my elevation, imagine my ascension. So there is a language gap. So let's start with the Bible itself. In Hebrew, the word often translated as fear is, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but yirah, which actually points to awe, reverence, and wonder. So it's not cowering like a child afraid of punishment. Okay, we are called to be in reverence of God out of love, not to shrink back in fear of wrath. Okay, I think that's might be very Old Testament, but religion often instills fear because fear makes people easier to control. It's a mechanism of the brain. You can't be in bliss and enlightenment and be in fear at the same time. It's different. You can't do it. in reality, it's fear-based compliance. Okay, so religion in this sense is fear-based compliance, not love-based devotion, right? So love-based devotion, just really feel into that though. What does that feel like in your body? Fear-based compliance, love-based devotion. So what I experienced was someone trying to hand me their fear, right? Here's my fear because I care. So they dressed it up as care. So that's not care, that's projection. Here's my fear and let me project it onto you because I'm afraid for you. No, they're just actually afraid for themselves. So they follow all these rules and try to be perfect in the eyes of Jesus, but they're constantly in this fear loop. People who have authority wounds often project those onto God. If love meant being afraid to upset a parent, leader, an authority figure, then they think fear must also prove love of God. Okay, but that, my friends, that's trauma and not truth. And I actually personally don't trust anyone who tells me I need to be afraid of anything, especially including God, okay? Because the Bible also says perfect love casts out fear. I believe this is 1 John 4:18, okay? So fear isn't proof of love. This is my point. Fear is not proof of love. Trust, surrender to that which you call divine is proof of love. So now I'm going to bring it to embodied alchemy on a lighter note. Let me bring something from my own practice. Okay, I'm into BDSM. And in that world, I've learned something profound about fear, which is also awe. It's like awe, it's alchemy, right? A little fear in the body isn't terror, it's actually adrenaline, it's chemistry, it's excitement. Real BDSM is alchemy with the endocrine system and the nervous system. So when I'm in my submissive, there are moments where I feel a flicker of this adrenaline, of this fear, of this excitement. I'm a little bit afraid of my partner on purpose in a safe container in the realm of trust, okay? Because I trust that my partner will not actually harm me in a way that is damaging. And that tiny flicker of fear turns into thrill, into heightening, into ecstasy. So if that is what fear of God means, not terror of punishment, but electric reverence, that holy shiver, that tingle of awe that makes you want to open up even more, then I can get behind that. So that's alchemy and devotion. So let's just let that metaphor breathe a little bit. I'm actually I want to share way more about like my BDSM practice and what it has taught me spiritually. But so anyway, to answer the full question, my relationship with fear, I believe it's very simple. I don't live from guilt, and I do my best to not live from contraction. I don't give my power away by anticipating punishment. So that was difficult for me for a long time. So but it's important to not do as a sovereign person, to not give your power away by anticipating the punishment. And listen, you don't, we don't have to prove ourselves to anyone. So I'm already proven. I'm already proven in the eyes of God, I believe. So this is why I choose to live as lightly as possible, aligned with my heart and my own integrity, and then in trusting God's love. Right? And when someone projects fear onto me, I rebuke it in the name of Jesus, in the name of love, in the name of all divine frequencies, named and unnamed. Because guess what? I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do that. And from here on out, I don't want to hear anyone's opinion about that because that's what I'm allowed to do. Because devotion is not bondage. Devotion is trust. Devotion is expansion. Devotion feels good. It feels good. It feels good to feel expansive, not contractive. I'm scared, hide under a table. Okay. So anyway, I guess that's it. But if this spoke to you, share it with someone who's been told that they have to fear God to be faithful. And, if you want to fear God to be faithful, and that's the paradigm you're living in, then I support you in that 100%. do your thing. And if you want more of these transmissions, subscribe to and join me on Venus Day, which is Fridays, for new sermons. So perfect love casts out fear. We're going to remember that. And trust in that love. Okay, I love you all. Namaste.